Hello YouTube. You may have seen some amazing highways for city skylines and also for real life, and thought some of these highways I could maybe make in in city skylines. It is a bit more complicated, and I'm hoping that with this tutorial I can help you make that slightly closer to reality and help you make even better roads. So with this method, you don't need any decals from the workshop, you know, those little lines that you use. Let me give you an example. These things right here. Don't need to place these down on roads anymore, or for the most part anyways, because you can just make your own custom ones. So, how is this gonna work? Well, first off, I need to tell you, you need a couple things. First off, you need two very specific mods. These are the main mods. You need the node controller mod, and you need the intersection marking tool mod, both respectively with all of the other mods that they require to work. I will put a video of me showing it on Steam, also a couple screenshots. For realism and making cars not drive on your decals, you're going to need Traffic Manager, President Edition. This is so you can use this feature, the lane connector. Additionally, this is only optional, but I highly recommend it. You can download Elektrix Road Tools mod. This is so you can, I'll show you later, but basically you can remove nodes. You'll know what nodes are later. I also recommend installing the UnifiedUI mod. This is basically a mod that combines these three mods: the node controller, intersection marking tool, and roundabout builder. Because sometimes, usually these two mods are down on the bottom here, but they keep disappearing. So it's usually good to have these handy here. There's also shortcuts for these, and you can change them in the settings, but I highly recommend putting them up here in the screen so you have easy access without having to remember the shortcut. I am using these highways right here, just so you know. These are also custom highways, but I'm also gonna do my tutorial is gonna be on the basic highways, so you don't have to worry about that. But for some of these highways, you may see that they're not unlocked yet, or maybe you don't even have them. This one requires the mod Network Extensions 2 to get extra roads that are like way better than the vanilla roads. But I also use other roads as well. There's also the Shuto Highway, Shuto Expressway, and the Hangang. I also recommend those. But for my build here, I don't really want to use those for personal reasons. So there are two things that I want to show you today. One thing you have already seen in my previous tutorial, that is how to make normal highway ramps without the decorations, without any special cool drawings on the road, just the normal way. I will also do that just to refresh your memory, I guess. But you can also watch that video in the, I'll put it somewhere in the video in the top corner or something. Second thing that I want to explain you is how to draw on those roads with this mod right here, with these two actually, node controller and intersection marking tool. I will also give you a couple examples of places that are like that, like roads in real life. These usually happen in like Japan, China, France. I've seen a couple examples as well. They're in a lot of places. I'll show you them. Let's get on with the tutorial. So, like I said, this tutorial is just for highways, but this is applicable to any type of road. You can do this for standard roads. You can do it for example, like 2 lanes right here. It really doesn't matter. I would, however, recommend in the first place that you do get set up first, know exactly what kind of road you're building. What I mean by this is that you set up everything first. So say you want a highway that goes into from a 3-lane highway to a 4-lane highway and splits off somewhere, right, and then turns back into a 3-lane highway. I recommend you do that first, place it down, and next step is I would always first remove any nodes in between, right? But this is also vital for the second part of the video. But this is just to show off how you can turn this into a very unique looking highway. So like I said, you have to, hold on just a second. This is not transitioning properly. That was weird. It did not work, but I can still show you this. I'm sure that would work for you. If it doesn't, you can just reinstall the mod specific for the road that you're trying to use, but that usually shouldn't happen. Anyways, see here, this is a proper transition from a 2-lane to a 3-lane, and then you want to continue it with a 2-lane, and then it splits off into 1 lane. But this is just an example. You can do this with however many lanes you want. So first step is to transition this ugly denting here into a proper looking highway split off, right? So first off, I would recommend though you use the intersection marking tool to draw lines first so you can better orient yourself. This is also important if you want to transition from a 2-lane to a 3-lane, for example. You want to know in which direction the split off starts. So for me, it's gonna split off on this side. So you want to do it like this. You want to draw a line that connects like this, and then these ones are like this, right? And then also same thing on the other side. Do a basic, just do basic lines. You can customize them later, but it's important to have the rough shape first. So now that that is done, open up Node Controller, hold Alt, and then you can see here these segments are selected. These are pieces of a road, right? So here I would remove 1 node in between. Right here, use Elektrix mods, the node removal tool with the minus sign, and then you remove this middle node right here. If it shows these signs, that means the highway is going in this direction instead of this one. So what you do is you select a road and then upgrade it to the other direction. I'm assuming you already know how to do that. And you may notice that your markings disappeared. So you may just want to do it again. Not a big deal at all. Just, there we go, you can draw on. From here on out, you want to hold Alt again, left click on either of these. It's going to have to be both in the end, but you can select them. And from here on out, you hover over either these corners right here, left or right. You're going to have to edit both. So for this road, for example, they have different values, but I think it's usually 1.8 for each corner. So where you're going to go is here, position, outward, and depending on either one, if it's in this direction right here, this corner for example, then you're gonna have to do minus. Hold shift and then scroll down with your mouse wheel until it's minus 1.8 for this one, for example, but it may be different values for others. And also the other corner, hold shift, scroll upwards to increase the value up to 1.8, and as you can see, the line straightens. This is vital to make it look realistic. Do it for the other corner, and here as well, the corners are flipped, you may notice. So whereas it used to be, for example, this corner right here was here, and now it's here. So that's fine. You can just orient a bit and then find it, set it up. 1.8 for this corner, minus 1.8 for this corner, and as you can see, the line is completely straight. Actually, for this one, I may increase it just a little bit, but that's fine. So you can do 2 on these ones. That's fine. That looks good for me. And now you may notice that this looks a bit weird here. So what you can do, you can just offset the corner. You do so by clicking on this node, left click. You hover over this yellow circle, and then you set the corner offset like this. Don't do it too much because then it will like clip over and it looks glitchy. Like that. That looks good for me. And then you want to just set it up a little bit, maybe like adjust here and there, but usually that should be fine. And essentially that is it for the first part. As you can see, it's completely smooth. If you try to edit these in any way or like upgrade any roads, it will have to change, so make sure you know exactly how you want to set up your road in the first place. For me, the plan was to put it from a first 2-lane highway into a 3-lane split off, and then it turns back into a 2-lane, right? Simple as that. And then obviously you can start decorating it now and put in like fillers. Maybe you want to change these into like normal lines, these ones into like maybe longer. So that's one part, right? Second part, how do I turn these lines right here customized, or maybe the whole thing, right? Like right in between, because as you saw from those examples on Google Earth, these lanes, for example, these lines right here are completely custom. Maybe they're completely straight, or they have like custom looking shapes. In this second part, I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to do it fast here. First off, you want to select the node controller, and what this does right here, you select right in the middle, you create a new node, and that's fine. Just let that be for now. It's important that you make this node a custom node so that you can stretch it outwards and it reaches these edges right here. Let me give you an example. So here, if I do this, if I offset the corner, it will touch these corners right here. Just like that. And don't worry, now if it looks weird like that, what you do is you take the corner, left and right corners, and you set them up like this, just like we did before. So for me it's 2 and minus 2, 2 and minus 2, and as you can see, it's fixed. So now you got a completely custom node that covers this whole area. From here on out, you can basically start doing anything here. So for me, I wanted to do something like this. Maybe I wanted to put shark teeth here in between, you know, anything. Maybe make it slightly bigger, change up the colors a little bit, maybe make it like green or something. It doesn't really matter at all what you do here from now on, right? Maybe that's a bit too much. And then here, just normal lines. And then also you can edit these ends right here. You know, it's just completely to your liking. And also maybe this looks a bit too edgy. So what you can do is you can offset from this part, and you can like drag it slightly further, and then you have to change this to adjust as well. Change this corner offset. That looks a bit smoother for cars to go in. And also this right here, I want to change to the shark teeth as well. You can really do anything. But what if I want to do a like a chevron here? Let me give you an example. So we can like draw like a completely custom filler as well. And then you can do like a chevron. And then it will like transition into the highway. Just like that. And you can just continue doing this for every road. Literally every road. But the process is tedious. But I think is very worth it in the end. And I'm hoping the developers for these mods can do it like this, so that it changes up a bit of the landscape. Because usually we just see these, we don't see these much in highways. We see these mostly like for intersections and stuff. So that's one part. I also have another part, another thing that I wanted to show you. For example, and this is for like very specific cases anyways. I don't think you're going to be doing this often. So let's say you have a 2-lane highway like this, and for some reason you decide to split it into 2 lanes each, like this, right? I'm gonna move it just a little bit like that, for example. And it splits off, right? But how are you going to dedicate it like this? Well, usually you can just do it, you can just draw right in between here, like this, but that's ugly. We don't want to do that. One method that I found is seen in a lot of Chinese cities as well, and like Asian cities in general. You can start offsetting the corner, and as soon as you're here, obviously you want to split it off, but it's gonna be just normal roads instead. Oh wait, no, not like that. So maybe you want to do something like this. Do not connect these two though. Just start doing the filler here, for example. Like this, so you have a normal filler, and maybe connect these ones as well. So like that, for example. And then you want to create a second node again. Make it custom, a custom node. And basically stretch out the corner offset up until the end. I would not change the corner offset here, because that will mean you would have to also increase the corner offset up here, because if you did that, then it would look a bit weird on the chevron or on the markings. So just do this one, right? And if it looks a bit too wide, you can just move it with move it, and if it goes over like that, you can just drag it down a little bit, right? Hold on, that light is sticking through, so you're just gonna have to adjust it just a little bit. And then basically you can make this filler end right here, so that it would transition properly from a 2 to 1+1 split, and then formally introduce itself as a normal 2-lane highway. For some reason these exist. Don't really understand the thought process behind them, but that's one method you can do. This is the end of the video. These are basically the methods. And one more thing that I have to mention is if you make these corner offsets too close to each other like this, and that they overlap, not only do they look kind of ugly in the end, but at a certain point, like maybe right here, cars drive very funkily, so maybe you're gonna have to sacrifice a little bit of looks to make the road functional. I mean, it still works, but you know, cars do weird stuff here. To end this off on a good note, I want to show a couple examples that I've made before the video. So here is one that I've made with my own set of highways. As you can see here, it has these yellow squares, and it just transitions so nicely from this one lane into a proper highway. Here's another example I did with vanilla roads. This one, as you can see, transitions from a 4-lane highway into a 3-lane, and it has this beautiful red chevron here to guide cars. As you can see, the light sticks out here in the middle. You can, like I said, you can change that by doing that, slightly decreasing the offsets, and they will look okay. Actually, that doesn't look okay. Maybe one more. There we go. Yeah, it will leave a bit of a gap, but that's basically the game's just own limitations. As you can see, also I did light red chevrons. Last example, just like I did before, a split from a 2-lane highway into a 1-lane. And this works for literally any size. Like if you wanted to do like a 7-lane highway to a 10-lane, you can do this. This works too. But I would not recommend that. That's too much work. And this method is just specifically for smaller projects. But if you want to go big, I can also recommend this method. And like I said, you need all of the mods that I've listed in the beginning of the video. And that's basically the end of the tutorial. Hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned from this. Maybe you can show me a couple builds that you did using this method. And yeah, I don't really brand myself much. I don't have social media, but if you enjoy the content, you can press the subscribe button. I have something very special planned for the future. I am doing my own airport terminal as well for my own city. This is the city right here. It's very empty, but it's happening slow. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I'm out.